Hi, this is LaJune with LaJune Singleton, LLC Fitness, Health, Mindset, Nutrition, and Wellness Podcast. You guys, I have another great, amazing guest. She is a life strategist, podcaster of iQUIT podcast, speaker, the CEO of Elevated Possibilities, LLC, a coaching, consulting, and empowerment business, and best-selling author of iQUIT, the how-to guide to letting go of everything that's holding you back. Rachel B-Foy, thank you for joining me all the way from East Texas.
Woo! Thank you for having me, LaJune. I'm excited.
So, can you give a background on yourself?
Sure. So I grew up in East Texas, born and raised. If you know where maybe Tyler, Texas is, but I'm from Palestine, Texas. We are known for the Dogwood Trails. So grew up there, went to school at TJC, Tyler Junior College, and then graduated from Sam Houston University and went on to pursue my master's degree in education. And I am known as the creator, the movement, the forward thinker for the I Quit movement. It's all about choice. And so over life and everything that has been thrown at me, I just really encourage particularly women to understand and just remember the power that we have within. And we cannot dictate or determine what happens to us, but we can definitely choose how we respond to it. So, two little girls, and that's my husband, and we out here in this rural area, just living our best life.
I'm laughing because I used to live in Dallas and I used to pass through all the rural areas going back to Louisiana to go home and visit my family.
Mhm.
So I probably did pass through your area because I did have to pass through Tyler, Texas to get to Louisiana. So
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah,
I commend you
full
for doing
circle.
your I commend you for doing your thing in East Texas. Um so can you so tell me about how did you come up with the concept of I quit?
So the funny thing is, I actually didn't even know that it was going to happen. So one day I was on my cell phone and I was texting. And everybody knows that when you are texting, sometimes your phone will ding and that name will come across, and your whole insides begin to have a response. And so that day I had been texting, doing different things for work and for business. And I was going back and forth, like corresponding with a particular person, and my entire demeanor changed. And I didn't recognize it. It was actually my husband, when I finished texting and like took the phone down, he said, "Why do you allow them to change your demeanor like that? Like, why do you allow them to have so much impact on you?" And I was like, "That's a good question. I do not know." And so I kind of went on a rant. And at the end, I remember saying, "I quit. Like, I quit. Like, I am taking my power back." And so from there, I ended up going back to work, and there were some things happening at work. And I went out in my car and I did a video, and it was all about I quit. And it was talking about choice. Like, I quit the things, the people, the relationships, the places that are stealing my joy, that are stealing my peace, that are stealing my God-given purpose and my talent. And it was really standing firmly in the fact that I had a choice. And so that day, it was verbalized. And from that post, that video, a podcast was born, a book was born, so much more was born. But the beginning of everything actually started when I lost my son. At 3 months, my husband and I had my son, and I had been on bed rest because I had preeclampsia. And so we were able to bring him home. He was in NICU for 2 months. Then we brought him home for a month. And unbeknownst to us, it was one of the greatest months. But by the end of that month, tragedy had set in. And so from there, even in the book, I just talk about my journey that I had to choose to wake up. I had to choose to live. I had to choose joy because by all accounts, I had every right and every reason to not want to live this life and to be angry and to not understand. But so much of I quit I didn't know began back then because I really understood that life is fleeting and we have the power to make choices in this life. And so here we are today.
And you said so much in what you said, because I've noticed personally for myself and also, my friends, where their mood change if they don't hear from somebody, their mood changes. Or if they hear from somebody, or if it's somebody they really don't want to talk to, their mood changes. What is it that you think about
Mhm.
that shifts our mood and our energy?
Part of what I believe shifts our mood and our energy is that we haven't given ourselves permission to truly set boundaries without guilt. So if I don't want to take that call, often because of who we are, especially women being nurturers, I don't want to hurt that person's feelings. I don't want to come off a certain way. So even though this is not good for me, I'm still going to take the call. And I quit is telling you, no. Sometimes for your mental health and your wellness, I'm not going to take that call. Like, this is not the time that I need to take the call. So I believe it's giving ourselves permission to set the boundaries, but then ensuring that we don't have guilt that's attached and associated with it.
And I think for so many people, it is that guilt because they don't, want to feel like, well, I wasn't there for them, or they may judge me,
Mhm.
or they may feel some kind of way. And we as women, as you said, we overlook those things because we are brought up to be nurturers and take care of everybody and be there for everybody. And
Mhm.
we tend to forget about ourselves. So you talked about
Yeah.
losing your son, and that's a major thing. And I've had clients who lost their kids as adults. How were you able
Mhm.
to dive in and overcome that? Because for most people, especially in our community, we're supposed to kind of
Mhm.
act like it didn't happen and kind of sweep it under the rug because
Mhm.
we don't really deal with grief.
Mhm.
We don't get counseling. We don't,
Mhm.
seek things out the way we need to in order for us to heal. But for you to lose a
Mhm.
baby so young, um, you carried it for 9 months. We're at the NICU for 2 months. You bring your child home. You're excited, thinking that everything is going to be okay.
Mhm.
How was that for you? Because you started to blame God. You started to blame everybody. Of, well, why did you allow me to get to this
Mhm.
point? And then you just snatch it away from me. So can you talk about that, especially for the
Mhm.
people who haven't been able to heal?
Mhm. I can say that's a great question. And this is the part where, like you spoke about our community, we have to get real. And sometimes we have to get raw about it. Especially in our community, we trust in God. Like most of us, we were born and raised, we were raised in church. Um, and so I went through a lot of processes. And one of the most difficult processes, and I say difficult because there was a true internal struggle, is I had always believed, partially because of what I was taught, but also because I saw such strong, and I'm using air quotations, I'll get on strong later, strong women in my life that I felt like I truly believed that if I prayed about it and I took it to Jesus, that I should be okay. And what I found is that I needed Jesus and therapy. Okay. I needed both. And for our culture, it was very taboo. Even within my family, like talking about getting help, like going to a counselor, going to a therapist. And that was probably one of the greatest breakthroughs for me is I talk about it in the book, I quit. That part was just about I quit worrying about what others think. And that was the greatest breakthrough for me is in going to therapy, we were really able to unpack that much of what I was feeling and going through also had connections and attachments to things in my childhood, that also had connections to other things that had happened in my life. So there were different connecting pieces, and this significant loss was a ripple effect to begin to uproot and to really bring to the forefront underlying issues, underlying hurts or pains that I had never addressed. So therapy, I can tell you, was absolute the number one thing that helped me. Um, Also, allowing myself to go through the entire grieving process. And what does that mean? There's one part of grieving that's anger. And again, through my process, I wouldn't allow myself to get angry with God. I was like, you can't get angry with God. You can't question what God did. And what I found out is that it was stifling my healing. That's actually a normal part of the human response through the grieving process is I had to allow myself anger and I wouldn't. And that was so key. I didn't even realize it. And it was again, the counselor that helped me. She was like, you won't allow yourself to get angry. So once I released all of that, like every anger, everything I did not understand, I got it all out. And I remember one day my mom had called me, and I talk about it in the book. I was having a particularly bad day. I had cried most of the day. I had broken things. Like when you say angry, I had unleashed um to let the anger out. And my mom told me, I remember I was crying and sobbing on the phone, and she said, baby, I don't understand what you're going through because I've never buried a child. She said, but I'll tell you this, it's okay for you to go there. It's okay for you to kick, scream, roll, whatever you need to do, but don't stay there. She's like, don't stay in that state. So that for me was probably the second greatest thing is allowing myself the full cycle of grief and giving myself grace and love to say, it's okay for you to go here, but Rachel, we can't stay here. This is not where we're gonna stay. And if you need to come back to this place multiple times, that's okay. But we can't stay in this state of anger. So those would probably be the top two is the counseling and therapy, and then allowing myself to go through the entire process um, of grief, particularly anger.
And that's powerful because the thing of it is, I think we don't go through the whole process of grief. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, they died. Now life goes on. But guess what? They were a huge part of your life, especially, as again,
Mhm.
you built that bond with a small baby in your stomach.
Mhm.
If you lose a
Mhm.
parent or, you lose a child of whatever age, you still have that bond with them. So, for society to
Mhm.
look at it as, especially our community, okay, well, they went on home to glory. No, but they were also a huge impact in your life. And
Yes.
you talked about
Yes.
strength, like especially in our community. I look at strength totally different than what I used to look at strength of being strong. I don't I'm okay with it,
Absolutely.
but don't look at me as strong,
Hmm.
because guess what? I have moments of weaknesses. I have moments of vulnerability, and I'm okay
Yes.
with that. So can you talk about it
Hmm.
from your perspective?
So I'm right there with you in an alignment of what strong is. I believe that unfortunately the title of strong, or the perception of being a strong Black woman, a strong African American, that in some instances it almost dehumanizes us, as if we don't have feelings, as if I am not still like, yes, my son died, but I never forget him. There is a gaping void in my life when people say things like, oh, are you guys going to try for a son? Are you guys going to try for a boy? They don't mean any harm. And because I have healed, that does not trigger me as it did before. But there is this paradigm and this thought that hopefully I do believe it's shifting of what strong is. For me, my greatest strength was in my vulnerability, as you said. My greatest strength was allowing myself to completely not be okay. My greatest strength was regaining my voice and being able to say, just because my emotions make you uncomfortable doesn't mean I am not going to have them. I'm going to have my feelings. I'm going to have my emotions. And if you are uncomfortable with yours, then you need to go and fix that. Okay. I quit putting other people in front of myself, and that's another thing when you talk about strong is we are taught in so many different ways, whether it's nonverbal, whether it's what we see in the model that we've seen in front of us, is that we take care of everyone else. But we have often had to learn, but how do I take care of me? I cannot take care of everyone else at the sake of myself. And I can just tell you that losing my son, although it was one of the deepest, most difficult, and I mean, we still deal with it today. I have two daughters that we have absolutely been blessed with. But I remember growing up, I can say I may have saw my mom cry, maybe a total of like on one hand, I could count how
Mm,
many times I saw my mom cry in front of me. So I saw strength as you don't cry. Like you don't cry. She never told me that. I never saw my grandma cry. Like there were just things I didn't see people really cry.
mm.
So when I am crying all the time, I'm like, well, what's wrong with me? Girl, you're so emotional. Like, quit that crying. I had to learn, like, no, that's okay. And so in being strong, I I believe what I show my daughters and what I show the world is that again the greatest strength is vulnerability. So there's times that my daughters have seen me cry and they'll ask me like, "Mommy, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Mommy is okay." And they're like, "Why are you crying?" And I say, "I really don't know, but I always feel better after I have a good cry." And my oldest daughter, who is 10 now, and she's getting, hormones and what have you, it has been very freeing for her because she doesn't think, well, there's something wrong with me. She's like, okay, well, mommy cries, so it's okay if I cry. And one day she told me that she said, "Mommy, I had that cry in the shower and it felt real good." I said, "Well, what were you crying for?" She said, "I don't know." And I said, "Well, that's good, baby. That's fine. If you feel better, that's great." um, we just have to shift our paradigm on what strong is. Like, I'm a human being with human emotions. And just for your audience to know who LaJune is, like who you are, LaJune, is this was something thing that we were actually going to schedule, we were going to do earlier, like previously, this interview. And I got on the call and I wasn't myself. I was a few minutes later than I typically would be. And it was because I have actually lost a family member, lost an uncle. And it was LaJune who had to remind me that was like, no, this is a health and wellness show. You need to take care of you. And so I just encourage women that you have to have a circle of people, whether it's one, two, whatever it is, but someone who will call you out and like tell you the truth. Like, if we're really going to do this thing in life and we're going to be the best that we can be, you have to be a model and an example of that. And right now, you need to take time for you. So, LaJune, thank you for that, because you had to be strong to tell me that, and I received it.
You are welcome. You are welcome because, a lot of what you said, I'm literally like seeing myself because I lost my dad at 6 and dealing with molestation and losing my voice. And my whole thing was being strong. I got to be strong because if I'm weak, people will take advantage of me or whatever. And in that, of all those years, I lost my connection with emotions. I lost vulnerability. Like if I have to cry or if I cry, it's like that. And it's like, well, oh, that's it. Because I've learned how to turn it off.
Yeah.
And I used to do acting. I have a friend who is an actress and she is like waterworks. She can just literally cry. I'm like, well, how do you do that? But she has that emotional connection. Right. I don't have that emotional connection. Yes. I'm working on it from healing and the work that I've done. So that's, one thing you look at as being strong. You lose your emotion, you lose your vulnerability. And, I'm learning how to regain those things. And again, having a great circle of people in your tribe around you really does help you get to those places because I was unaware of it. I've had people say to me, you show no emotions, like you literally like this. And I'm like, okay, but it does matter because it matters in relationships, not just romantic, but friendships.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It matters. And I can say for myself, like in my friendships, and again, giving people, I say, space and grace. I can't expect for everyone to show up in life like me. However, I also love myself enough now and have healed enough to say, I may be a lot for you, so you may not be my person. You may not be my people. Because those who really like love, they love all of me. And it was Tabitha Brown, she recently had a post on Instagram, and that's basically what she was talking about, just even in business, not just life, but even in business. Like, this is who I am. What you see is what you get, and I'm not going to taper down or shift or adjust who I am to appease others anymore. And so I love that. I love that. And that's what iQUIT is. Like, we get to choose us. Like, I'm still going to be respectful of you, but you better believe it is not going to be at the sacrifice of who I am at my core. Like, not gonna do it.
So yeah, basically saying I choose me. I pick me over you. So I'm going to always be first. And that's something I feel that a lot of women are starting to do. And I am so happy to see it, that you are picking yourselves over, anybody, because you look at people that say, oh, well, I've been friends with this person since, nursery school or whatever. So what? People change. People outgrow each other. People are on different paths of life. And that's okay. Is it saying that you can't be respectful and cordial to those people? No, it's just saying that everybody is not going to be on the bus with you, whatever journey you decide to take. So I
Yes,
think that's,
that's
definitely
exactly right.
powerful. Yeah, I think that's definitely powerful that, more women are starting to pick themselves in, relationships. They're like, my partner is not quite working for me anymore because I've outgrown him or her and I'm on a different
Mm-hmm.
path.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you said that because it's not just relationships like friendships, but also romantic relationships. And then also the relationship with yourself. Like, how can you really pick you if you haven't loved you, if you don't really know who you are? And that was part of the journey as well, is really getting to know me. Like, my daughters thought it was so funny when I would tell them, like, one time here recently, I had gone to the movies by myself. It was a me day. I took myself to the cinema grill. I had something to eat. I watched the movie. I walked around, did a
I
little
love
window
it.
shopping. I had a wonderful time with me, with me. And my daughters are just like, you didn't want anybody to go with you? And I'm like, I love my company. Like, sometimes I can be a lot for me. Okay. So I know I'm a lot for people at times. So I can give people grace because I'm a lot for me at times, but I enjoy me. And it's really, I was helping my daughters understand. I was like, just because I went to the movies without you doesn't mean I don't love you. Just because mommy says, hey, I need 10 minutes to me, doesn't mean that I'm muting your voice. I'm going to listen to you. But for me to be the best person and have the best listening ear for you right now, I need to decompress for me. I need to process through some things and then I'm going to come right back and I'm going to hear what you have to say. So I think it's having that, the duality, like understanding that I can choose me, but still be there for you. And there are times and seasons in life where I may go ahead and put somebody before me, but that's because it's my choice. I've chosen that this is good for me right now, and I'm gonna be okay. So it's the duality of it for me.
Something you said was so powerful, which is kind of funny. I told my friends I was going to go to Delaware this weekend. I actually didn't go because it was supposed to rain. And the first thing they said, "Who you going with?" Myself. And they're
Yes,
like, "What? Why?" Because I am great
yes.
company and I enjoy my company. And sometimes I like to be alone. And, the
Mhm,
weirdest thing was when I was in a
mhm,
relationship, um, me and my partner did everything together. We traveled together. We did stuff together. But before my partner, I did
mhm.
stuff by myself. And I enjoyed myself.
Yes.
And I lost that part of me. So last year, I
Mhm,
went to Cancun
mhm,
by myself. And funny thing, my mom was
mhm.
like, "Oh, it's so good that you and your ex got back together." I was like, "Who said that?" Because I didn't tell you that. And her assumption was I was going to
Right,
Cancun with my ex. And I'm like, "No, I'm going by myself." It's all about asking, who are you going with? And I would
right.
have told you. And
Yes,
I'm enjoying
yes.
my company because I used to be so concerned about trying to make sure they were enjoying themselves or they were okay and things like that.
Mhm,
And I don't want to do that anymore because I can make
mhm.
sure I'm okay if something I started doing and I don't like it. Okay, well, let me try something else because I would be so focused on, well, they having fun. I want to make sure they're having fun. And then I lost my sense of why
Mhm,
I'm there. So, ladies,
mhm.
and also, gentlemen, please take trips by yourself. It is so essential. It's some you
Yes.
time, it's therapeutic,
Mhm,
and you loving on yourself.
mhm. Love it on yourself. And I love not having, what you spoke to is the expectation of, like, I have to be going with someone. And then even when when you choose to go with someone, that part of making sure they're okay. Like, listen, if I choose to spend time with somebody and we're going to go on a trip together, I need you to be able to take care of yourself. Find your fun, find your excitement. Like, no, I quit. Like, we all paid for this trip. Like, you need to come have fun just like me, or you're not invited anymore. Like that.
Yes,
Mm-mm.
yes. So,
Yes.
Rachel, can you tell people how they can find you or what's coming up next for you?
Sure. So, what's coming up next? I am super excited about some of the things we have coming up. Um, One of the things that I talk about in the book is just ensuring to be able to empower the next generation. Like, we're at a point where we have to be able to reach back in so many lessons that I was taught or I have learned would have been so beneficial to know a lot sooner in life. And so I have a program, Empowered to Be, Believe and Excel, that's currently in school districts. But we are also doing empowerment events where we have speakers come in. So we recently had the first Black valedictorian at Rusk High School. She came and she spoke to the girls, and it was a really amazing event. So we have some of those events coming up, as well as different speaking engagements. And you can find most of this stuff on my social media on Instagram and Facebook. And it's Rachel B. Foy, Rachel, B as in boy, Foy. So Rachel B. Foy. That's the same website, www.rachelbfoy.com. So across all those mediums, it's Rachel B. Foy. And we're just out here trying to empower, equip, and inspire to action. Like, give people the tools, the how to transform their lives. Like, really, we know we can, and we know that it's possible, but oftentimes people just need some quick, like, what are the steps to do that? And so we really work through what are those tangible steps for you to be able to transform your life to what you choose.
And is there a certain target audience that you work with, or you work with everyone?
So my target audience, and it's primarily women and young girls. However, we actually have began a boys program in the school district, and I bring in different male figures because I do believe that there's plenty that the boys get from the program, but they also need those male figures. Um, but the primary target audience is definitely young girls and women. Particularly moms who sometimes forget themselves. And it's just the permission and the how to bring those dreams back alive, but still get that dinner on the table. And sometimes that dinner may be you didn't cook it. Honey, go get you some takeout. It's okay. Put it on the plate. It looks real nice. Throw some salad with it. It is healthy. Um, so it's permission. It's how to live this life to the fullest with all the hats that we wear. Is that funny, LaJune?
It is so funny because I have said that to friends who say, "Oh, I gotta go home and cook, for my family or whatever." And it's like, girl, you don't pass by so many restaurants that you could have picked something up.
Come
You're
on.
talking about how tired you
Yes.
are. You had a long day. Your day
Yes.
wasn't that great. Pick something up. Everything doesn't have to be a home cooked meal every
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Mhm.
I
Does
don't have
not.
kids
Just
and
throw a
I
little
ain't in a
salad.
relationship. So, if you saying it as a mother and a wife, hey, she done said it.
Come on.
Yes.
It's stamped. There you go.
The stamp. The judge has hit the gavel. So you have heard
Hit the gavel. That's it.
You have heard it from a mother and a wife that's saying that. Not just a single person, because hey, I would in a minute, I'm like, I will order something, go pick something up. I am not, it's just me. So I don't cook all the time. So yes. So please
Yes.
give yourself some grace, Go pick up something, have Uber Eats,
Yes,
DoorDash, Instacart, whomever, bring the food to the house and give yourself a break. It is okay.
it is
So
okay.
can
It
you
is
give
okay.
your social media again, and your website?
Sure. So my social media across all platforms is Rachel, Racel. Wait, did I spell my name right? Hold on. RCHE. Okay, no. I get, listen, this is me for real. I'm
She
gonna
I
be
forgot
authentic
she
and transparent. Like, did I spell my name right?
it be so good on here. She I forgot how to spell her name, so it's okay.
It is really good over here. I just forgot how to spell my name. Let me try that again. It's Rachel B-Foy, Rachel, Rachel, B as in boy, Foy. And then my website is www.rachelbfoy.com.
All right, please go check her out. Get her book on Amazon. She has definitely gave a lot of gems because, you know, again, if you are a mother who has lost a son or a daughter, hey, the book can help you because sometimes, as we know, we're not always ready to go to therapy because we're thinking we're going to be judged. Somebody's
Mhm,
going to think we're crazy or whatever the case may be. Who cares what somebody else
mhm.
thinks? It's about your mental health, your emotional well being, your physical well being. So
Yes.
let those things go and get the help you need. If it starts with her book, get her book to get the start, to go get the therapy, the coaching, the consulting, whatever you need. Get the help you need. Let's stop ignoring these things because we're about to go into a whole new year, and let's leave all the stuff that has been plaguing us in 2022 and the previous years, and let's go into 2023 healthier, better,
Mhm,
physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and nutritionally. So let's let those things
mhm.
go. Rachel, thank you again. You guys can find me on LaJuneSingleton.com. Thank you so much, Rachel. You have dropped so much, so I appreciate you and would love to have you on again. Until next time, I'm LaJune.